Mayday, a universal call sign of distress shouted from airplanes going down and battleships as they sink, and also the colloquial name for a day of remembrance and empowerment for working people and the rights they and unions fought so hard for throughout American and world history.
Siblings, it is an honor to be in solidarity with all of you on this May Day. My name is Jade Kelly, and for the past 4 years, I have proudly served as president of CWA Local 7799, your favorite union. And today, this very moment, on our sacred day of worker power, I am so fucking proud to announce Boulder County Employees Union has become our newest, fiercest 7799 union! Proof that solidarity is stronger than suppression. Proof that when we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! But trust me, we are not finished fighting. Today, we march for every undocumented worker who keeps our state running. Yeah! Today, we rally for every student dreaming of freedom and facing handcuffs instead. Today, we organize for every family torn apart by raids, by walls, by racism wrapped in the flag.
That's right!
Unions have survived the attacks of billionaires. Unions have defied the greed of our bosses who caved to those billionaires. Today, unions have brokered the suffocating silence forced upon us 90 years ago, when the Colorado Labor Peace Act tried to bury our power as workers, criminalizing our power in the public sector and handcuffing unions in the private sector. Let me be clear, there is no fucking labor peace! And there will be no fucking labor peace tomorrow. Not while our immigrant activists are arrested. Not while union leaders are jailed. Not while our wages are stolen. Not while our rights are being stripped away. Not while we bleed and billionaires feast on our labor.
Welcome back to The Quiet Part. Today is May 1st, also known as International Workers' Day, and sometimes, as I've said, May Day. America is in distress. Whatever America meant or ever was is changing, whether it be through incremental changes to constitutional law connected to how corporations use money to corrupt our democratic elections, or, more recently, the accelerated rise of fascism spearheaded by the Trump administration in alignment with Project 2025. Things are not all right. So here I am in downtown Denver at yet another protest. Today I will tell you about a story from American history that goes back well over 100 years and what that story has to do with the reason people are gathered here today. Those that paid even a little bit of attention in your US history courses will already know, but the 8-hour workday and the 40-hour work week weren't always standard. There was a time where workers were made and expected, without exception, to work 60-hour work weeks and 10, 14, and 16-hour days. And these weren't well-paying, high-risk jobs at some valuable union factory. This is what work meant for just about everyone. Just as America moved away from relying on child labor in factories, so too have the rights of the average worker improved. But not without sacrifice. It took an immense amount of work for people to earn the right to 8 hours of work, 8 hours of recreation, and 8 hours of rest built into our work weeks. The 8-hour day and 40-hour work week was codified into American law in 1940 as an amendment to the Fair Labor and Standards Act. FDR signed this act into law following an earlier failed attempt to improve workers' rights as part of his New Deal that focused on social welfare to get America out of the Great Depression. But the actual fight for the 8-hour workday goes way further back. In the mid and later 1800s, a number of labor organizations and unions had begun growing in pursuit of defending workers' rights. Several large organizations began advocating for better working conditions, focusing in on an 8-hour workday as their flagship issue. In 1884, the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions, which would later become the American Federation of Labor, held a convention. There, workers decided as a group that employers and the government would have 2 years, until the 1st of May, 1886, to transition workers to an 8-hour workday as a matter of law. Unsurprisingly, the employers resisted, and different organizations began preparing for a general strike, which in practice is when all the workers refuse to continue working until their demands are met. Chicago, Illinois acted as the epicenter for much of the labor movement during this time period. What happened there only a few days into the beginning of their general strike would become a major part of workers' history. This would become the origin of Mayday. On May 4th, 1886, only 4 days into the general strike, tensions between protesting workers and the local police would escalate into a bombing. This event would come to be known as the Haymarket Affair. The organizers, like many others, arrived with peaceful intentions, and their gathering, held at Haymarket Square, went into the evening, when a horde of police arrived in marching formation, threatening the speakers to disperse despite the protest having been peaceful. As the police descended upon the gathering, someone threw a bomb at the advancing police battalion, killing an officer. After this, gunfire was exchanged, killing several protesters and injuring dozens and dozens more. Some historical accounts insist that police opened fire first, rather than retreating following the initial blast from the bomb. Pulling directly from the Library of Congress, let's look at a short timeline showing some of the events leading up to the Haymarket Affair. May 1st, 1886, industrial workers across the U.S. go on strike, demanding an 8-hour workday. On May 3rd, 1886, during a strike at McCormick Reaper Works in Chicago, demonstrators clash with police, and several of the strikers are wounded or killed. On May 4th, 1886, that is the day of the deed, a bomb is detonated after police break up a meeting of labor activists near Haymarket Square in Chicago. One police officer is killed by the blast, and several men, both strikers and officers, die or are wounded in the ensuing violence. Here I will read sections from the Argus, a Chicago newspaper that covered the story on May 5th, 1886, the day after the affair. Bloody work, Chicago, May 5th. A report was received about 10 o'clock last night that 6 policemen were killed in Haymarket, where the anarchists were holding a meeting. A man who was standing in the crowd received a pistol ball in his thigh and has been brought to the Central Police Station. He says that during the progress of a speech by one of the socialists, a squad of officers marched by close to the speaker's stand. Someone shouted, "Kill the bleep." Almost as soon as the words had been uttered, 3 bombs were thrown from the stand into the midst of the squad of officers. They exploded instantly and 5 policemen fell. Others were wounded, and several socialists did not escape. The mob appeared crazed with a fanatic desire for blood, and holding its ground, poured volley after volley into the midst of the officers. The latter fought gallantly, and at last dispersed the mob. If it isn't obvious, the established media was deeply biased against the people they labeled as socialists and anarchists, favoring the police, going so far as to consider the words of the anarchists violent, while describing the police as having fought gallantly. In defense of the state and those in power, an anarchist Red Scare would surge following this event. Several of the men accused of involvement with the making of the bombs would face trial by our government and be hung by the neck until dead for their supposed crimes. At the time and in the present day, many considered the trials preceding their murder by the state as unfair. The deaths of these men would not go forgotten, however. The Socialist International was a global-scale group of unions, organizations, and political parties that supported workers' rights. At a large meeting in 1889, 3 years after, it was decided that May 1st would be declared International Workers' Day, in memory of the martyrdom of the 8 anarchists that were victimized following the Mayfield Affair. Later still, in 1893, the governor of Illinois, John P. Altgeld, actually pardoned some of the men that were wrongfully convicted, saying that the trial was not fair. And the rest is literal history. Ever since, May Day has been a day for workers to celebrate the victories we have won and regroup so that we can keep fighting for what is right. Take a look at some of these signs.
We can bring the birth of the world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
And now that we've caught their scent, they muddy the waters, airwaves, news stations by blaming immigrants, trans people, and so many more vulnerable communities. Immigrants, why you can't afford groceries? No! Pretty sure they're the ones who are in the fields picking the food that we eat. Are trans people, why your Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid are being slashed? No! Are veterans, people of color, queer people, disabled folk, and the poor the reason our air and earth is being polluted, our schools are being closed, our housing unaffordable, and bombs continue to obliterate innocent people, children across the sea? No! That's right. So what do we do? Yeah, we fight, that's right. I wasn't even prompting that, but hell yeah. They got the chant. Fight back! Stand up! 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 Fight back! To the streets! Out of your houses and into the streets! Out of your houses and into the streets! Out of your houses and into the streets!
Out of your house and then into the streets!
Out of your houses and into the streets! Out of your houses and into the streets! Say it loud! Say it clear! Say it loud! Say it clear! Immigrants are welcome here! In the street! People power can be beat! People power can be beat!
Come out, Governor! Lucky Palestinian!
Immigrants are under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! 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 Stand up, fight back!
Right there.
Of this volcanoism. I am the daydream of Minutemen. I am the hostage of imbecile. I am the motherland. I am the repudiation of
Israeli seller! Why don't you address your own constituents?
We rally before the rich and the powerful, and we demand that they see us as humans too. We insist that we too are owed the right to have secure food, housing, and health care. That we too should reap the rewards of our hard labor. That we too deserve to live. Yet, our demands fall on deaf ears. The ruling class look at us and they laugh. Shame! Shame! To them, I say this. They have forgotten their place. They have forgotten who it was that built the world upon which we now stand. They have forgotten who tilled the soil so that they might eat. They have forgotten who built the homes so that they might sleep, who built the roadways and the factories and the cities. They've forgotten whose blood, sweat, and tears turned the cogs of this world. They have forgotten their place. The rich expect us to stand before them and beg. They pretend that they are kings. But I ask you, when their factories are empty and their trains do not run and their dockyards are vacant and the world grinds to a halt, what then? What are they without us? They are nothing! The only people with power here are us! So show them! The movement for a general strike already has over 340,000 people. So join us! I have organizers in the crowd right now, friends and comrades passing out the strike card, or you can go to General Strike US. Join us. They say it takes just 3.5% of a population to make change, to turn the tides. Just 11 million people in a nation of 340 million. That is how powerful we are.
It's been over 100 years and we're still fighting for the right to earn what we work for. For the idea that in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, people shouldn't be paid so poorly that they can't afford housing and healthcare. So much of our quality of life was earned through union organizing. And our current leaders, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, are renowned union busters, working against workers' rights throughout their history and present-day actions and policies. The improvement of working conditions and the improvement of life for all people are deeply intersectional. A threat to a worker is a threat to every kind of person because millions work, upon which so much of the world currently depends. We know the current administration's history and policies, and whether the protesters know the history or not, today they stand where their ancestors, whether spiritual or by blood, once stood and once fought for a better meaning of the word America. All power to all the people. If you enjoyed this video or appreciate my coverage, please consider clicking the subscribe button below to continue seeing my work. Join my community Discord, which is linked in the description, to keep the conversation going. And if you'd like to support me directly, become a channel member. Check out one of these videos YouTube recommends. They're probably pretty good. Take care and have a good day.